What if I told you that there was a phrase out there that could teach you how to be a better player? And that when practiced properly, this phrase could tighten the timing between right and left hands, it could improve your phrasing on eighth note patterns, it could even help you balance and clarify your tone, all while being musically useful enough, in fact, to deploy in any tune you know or any tune you might learn in the future. Well, the good news is that such a phrase exists. The better news is that I'm going to show you how to play it and learn from it today on Banjo Quest. So this phrase is not going to come as a shock to many of you who have been watching me for a while. The phrase that we're talking about today is an alternate string pull-off, but I do want to show you different ways to focus on it so you can teach yourself and bootstrap yourself to better technique. I have 5 ways that this technique can show you how it's a primer for Clawhammer Banjo, and it can serve you as a teaching tool from beginning to the very bitter ends of mastery on the instrument. 5 reasons why the alternate string pull-off is a powerful technique if you're practicing it right and paying attention to the correct elements. So we're just going to start with an alternate string pull-off pattern in G. I'm going to demo that pattern for you now, and then I'm going to show you 5 ways, 5 uses of this pattern, and 5 ways that it can show you how to play the banjo at a really high level. Okay, let me show you the pattern first. Faster. And let's get this thing cooking. All right, the first way that the alternate string pull-off can help your playing is that it teaches you how to perform an eighth note pattern correctly, but it's not enough just to play the pattern and think that you've got it. 2 ways to help you measure out those eighth notes. One would be with a metronome. So you set the click and you just play along. You've seen me do that before. The second way is you can put the metronome down and you can practice counting with your playing, but make sure you're counting the entire eighth note. That includes the ands. Let me demonstrate. So we have our pattern. Now let me show you how to count it. I would count it like this. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and faster. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. You get the idea up into your upper tempos, although as you get faster, you'll probably find it is increasingly difficult to count while you play because it's hard to say the words. The other tricks that you can play with this pattern with counting is you could count all of the numbers. So like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What if you tried counting the ands? And, up into your faster tempos. Now, why does counting help you play well? Well, it's really hard to count in a not measured way. So if you try, you can run this experiment yourself. Try to count a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and pattern with your voice and try to make it unregular. It's really difficult. So I found that with myself and with my students, counting along with my playing has the tendency to sort of knock all of my notes into the right places, and it sort of illustrates ways to view this eighth note pattern. This eighth note pattern is where we live as clawhammer players. So the more you can understand it and the more you can train your inner clock to follow it, the better your playing will be. The second way an alternate string pull-off can help you be a better player is that it shows you, it illustrates the importance of left and right hands meshing together like a pair of gears. The teeth just come together if they're lined up correctly, and they make for right and left hand coordination, which I think is one of the keys to having a clean sound on the instrument. Now let me show you how this works with the alternate string pull-off. In order for you to play this with good time, you've got to set your right and left hands together and get them coordinated. One of the critical moments in the alternate string pull-off is on the downstroke, because with that downstroke, I am connecting with both hands simultaneously. So I connect to prep my left hand to be there before the pull-off needs to happen. And this illustrates another great rule of playing. You want to be in position before the notes need to happen. Otherwise, you're always going to sound a little bit behind, or you're going to sound rushed, or you're going to feel like you're always trying to catch up to that bubble of time that you're supposed to be living in. So, for example, if I'm playing this alternate string pull-off and I'm really paying attention to my right and left hand timing, I'm connecting with the instrument on the initial downstroke, I'm pulling off with my left hand simultaneous to the upstroke with my right hand, and then I'm downstroking with my right hand, and then I repeat the pattern. Now watch the right and left hands work together to make this pattern good. Connect, connect. Even to the upper tempos. The only reason I can get to those upper tempos is because my right and left hands are tightly coordinated, meshing like gears in a watch. The third thing that the alternate string pull-off can teach you is that soft hands yield speed. For example, if I were to sort of muscle my way through the pattern and use my fulcrum only and really tighten the muscles in my hands, it sounds terrible and it's not going to yield fast tempos. However, if I soften my hands, make my motion smaller, and play with a looser style, I can get to upper tempos. Not only can I get to upper tempos, but I can sustain them for a while, and that's because I'm loose and relaxed. And this is really important for your playing. The alternate string pull-off can show you that relaxation is the key to your upper tempos. If you can't get to upper tempos, you need to investigate what's going on with your playing and see what you can figure out to yield those upper tempos. And your alternate string pull-off can be a companion in that exploration process. The fourth way that the alternate string pull-off can show you how to be a better banjo player is because it forces you to contend with 3 striking surfaces all at the same time while trying to get everything balanced and nice sounding. So these 3 different surfaces are, of course, the back of your nail on the downstroke, the pad of your fretting hand when you pull off, and the thumb stroke on the upstroke. And balancing these 3 forces is really critical to getting the alternate string pull-off sounding good, and it will forge you into a better player all the way around. So practice listening to those 3 surfaces and getting them balanced. If all you can hear is your downstroke, then you've got some work to do on those other surfaces to bring them up and maybe to lessen the volume of the downstroke. Let me give you another little insight into how the alternate string pull-off can teach you how to balance these surfaces, and it's follow through. So I've got to make sure I'm following through with my right hand all the way through, punching through that string to a surface beyond. But that doesn't stop there. That principle holds true on your other surfaces. So when my pull-off happens, I'm pulling through the string to a target beyond. When my thumb note happens, I'm engaging, I'm activating that string, and I'm extracting my hand straight out from the instrument, but I'm doing it with enough force so that that 5th string is true and big and fat sounding. So if you've got a note that's in this pattern that isn't loud and big and sounding good, investigate your technique and make it better. So the 5th and final thing that we're going to cover today, there are lots more reasons why this is an amazing pattern and can teach you a lot about the instrument, but the 5th and final reason that we're going to cover today is that it shows you how to play banjo-y. And this is what I mean by that. I think of the alternate string pull-off as Clawhammer Banjo's great gift to the world of stringed instruments. We get to do it, and we get to do it better than anybody else can because it plays to the instrument's strengths. I don't want to sound like a guitarist playing the banjo. I don't want to sound like a violinist playing the banjo. I want to sound like a banjo player reveling in what the banjo does best, and that is pulling off to open strings. So whenever I deploy that alternate string pull-off, I am guaranteed to sound as banjo-y and unique as possible, because that's one of the moves that we can do that very few instruments can beat us at. So when I play that alternate string pull-off, for me, that is the heart and soul of Clawhammer. That's where the instrument is sort of in its element, at its best. And I want you to hear that when you play this pattern. I want you to revel in those open strings ringing. Pulling off those open strings sounds big. It covers a lot of ground. It fills a lot of space in the room on an instrument that is notoriously staccato and has really short sustain. This is how we can sort of cover over our flaws, play to our strengths all in one fell swoop. All right, everybody, that is it. That is definitely not the end of my list, but I'm going to save the rest of that list for my patrons. If you like this content, please subscribe. If you want more of this content, please hop on over to Patreon, where I am producing 2 videos every single week, along with tablature downloads and lots of other goodies. Hop on over to Patreon to find out more, and I will see you next week on Banjo Quest.